Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me ask Secretary Raven and Secretary Camarillo. We're not talking so much in the military now about equal opportunity, but equity. These are terms of art in compliance documents. What is the, Secretary Camarillo, what is the difference between equity and equal opportunity? Do you see a difference there?
Senator Wicker, certainly we have a longstanding policy, I think that is part of federal law regarding equal opportunity and making sure that all of our job opportunities, the way that employees are treated.
Absolutely, but how is equity different from that? And why are they saying equity now?
So if you're referring to programs for diversity, equity, and inclusion,
right.
My understanding is that those programs are designed to further promote an inclusive service in the Department of Defense and certainly within the Army.
Is it different from equal opportunity? Does it require a certain number of members of different groups?
No, Senator.
Okay,
we don't have targets or anything associated with that as part of our DEI programs.
Okay, so you do not have targets. Secretary Raven, does the Navy have targets?
No, sir. And to your original question on the difference between equal opportunity and some of the initiatives that we're working on, equal opportunity, again, there's processes defined in law and defined in policies for how to address certain disputes. What we're really talking about and what we are focused on is the process of building teams to perform the military mission, and some of these initiatives that you're talking about are focused exactly on that. This does not include quotas of any kind.
Okay, well, I was searching for the quote from General Colin Powell during my opening statement, and I obviously didn't mark it very well in my notes. But here is the exact quote of General Colin Powell. The military has given African Americans more equal opportunity than any other institution in American society, unquote. In other words, military service improves the lives of almost everyone who puts on a uniform, most especially those that come from disadvantaged backgrounds. And I noticed I was intrigued by this survey that the chairman mentioned, and yes, indeed, only 5% believed that wokeness was a problem. Number two, overall barriers to entry. Women and racial or ethnic minorities are discriminated against in the Army. That's just not true. It's not true according to what General Powell says. It's not true according to the extremism survey, which spent a lot of time and a lot of man hours in a stand down, and come to find out they only found 100 cases service-wide of extremism. And I just wonder if a 2-year campaign talking about diversity, equity, inclusion, and a strategic plan to overcome extremism has led to this 13% feeling of all surveyed, only 13%, but still a significant number. I wonder if it's led to that. But let me ask you, Secretary Camarillo and Secretary Raven, you have different approaches. Secretary Raven, the Navy is lowering its standards, no question about it. Why is that going to work in comparison to what didn't work in the 1970s?
Senator, vastly different. For sailors who are going into boot camp, we are allowing a certain number of Category 4s that you're referring to enter boot camp.
Five times more than earlier.
And that is to expand the pool of recruits. However, to be a machinist mate, to be a sailor, to be a fire controlman, you still have to meet the exact same standards as before. So we're trying to increase the pool, but the standards for performing the job are what is key and what we need to perform our mission, and we have not changed that.
So of the 5 times more of this lowest testing group, you're hoping somehow to initially train them to be more skillful?
Yes, absolutely. Both through boot camp, through a career in the Navy, and also the Future Sailor Preparatory course, which we're talking about physical and academic standards. We're standing that up this year.
Clearly, the Army disagrees with this approach, Secretary Camarillo.
Senator Wicker, I think all of us in the Department of Defense are looking at creative ways to expand the pool of available talent, and we're all taking steps, certainly you've heard from Secretary Raven, to try to invest in that population to try to help them meet the standards. And certainly with the Army, we're very pleased.
But you've elected to go to a different approach rather than lower the standards.
Our approach is focused on the Future Soldier Prep course, where we're taking potential candidates and recruits into Fort Jackson. We're investing them in academic skills and physical training skills to be able to meet our standards.
Fair to say it's a different approach from the Navy.
We have a different program.
Yes.
Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.